Lady Pamela's skipper has been sunk. Greg Newmar faced court after lying his way into Queensland from Melbourne with the millionaire Simmons family. And a magistrate heard the scale of his lies was far worse than we first thought. Dan Nolan was there.
Superyacht skipper Greg Newmar used to manage the careers of Rex Hunt and Sam Newman, but today he was trying to manage his way out of a criminal conviction for lying to an emergency officer.
Hi Greg, Dan Nolan from Current Affair. You got anything to say about these charges?
No, I'm going to get through today and then I'll come out and have a chat to you after that.
Inside court, the scale of his lies were laid bare regarding the Lady Pamela's voyage north. 83 emails were exchanged with Queensland authorities regarding an exemption, but not once did Greg Newmar admit that those on board had been disembarking in New South Wales ports. At Eden, Newmar took a taxi and visited an auto shop to buy a battery charger, then visited a coffee shop too. Millionaire construction magnate Mark Simmons and wife Cheryl were spotted on CCTV leaving the wharf for almost 2 hours, returning with shopping bags. Son Valence and his girlfriend Hannah Fox also left the wharf for around 2 hours. This just a few days after leaving the COVID hotspot of Melbourne. At Port Stephens, Newmar borrowed a car from the marina and drove into town to buy groceries. Later that night, he sent an email to Queensland authorities saying, "We have had no contact with the outside world other than New South Wales Police." That was one of 3 outright lies he sent by email, the police prosecutor describing it as an extreme example of continuing to provide false information. Outside court, Greg Newmar said he did all of this without any prompting from the millionaire owner of the Lady Pamela, Mark Simmons, or Linfox heir Peter Fox, whose daughter Hannah has now joined him on the Gold Coast.
I'd like to also let you know that the integrity of the Fox family and the Simmons family remains. They had absolutely nothing to do with my decision. That was my decision.
The court also heard the Simmons family allegedly lied to Queensland police officers. When they asked all on board if they had disembarked the vessel, everyone answered no. After enforcing 14 days hotel quarantine, all 7 interstate residents who were on board are now allowed to remain in Queensland.
I want to thank Queensland Health, Queensland Government, the MSQ, the Queensland Police. They do an amazing job with dealing with people like myself who stepped over the line on this occasion. I regret that, and I've paid the price today.
But the price is minimal. Queensland Police initially fined the skipper $4,000 before that was upgraded to today's criminal charge.
The magistrate issued a fine of $4,500, just $500 higher than the initial one, cancelled by police, and no conviction recorded.
It's another bitter pill for people trying to understand a border policy that favours super yachts and AFL officials over ordinary people like Sarah Cassip, who couldn't attend her father's funeral yesterday. Queensland Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk today finally showing some compassion, but sticking to her claim she has no control over decisions on exemptions.
These are difficult decisions and they're heartbreaking. I'm human just like everyone else. These issues hurt me deeply. They hurt me deeply because during this pandemic I've lost loved ones as well. So I know exactly what people are going through.
Do you feel guilty seeing people who can't even get up here to attend a funeral, and you brought a family of millionaires up here saying they were crew? Why did you lie so many times, Greg?
Yes, you do regret some of the things you do in life.
All 7 on board had claimed to be crew, bringing the super yacht north for its annual repairs. But a Current Affairs joint investigation with the Age newspaper captured the Simmons family and Hannah Fox drinking champagne and sunbaking.
What sort of crew work were they doing on the boat? Was Cheryl scrubbing down decks, was she? It looked like they were just all sitting there drinking champagne. You're seriously saying they were crew, are you? Or is that just another lie, Greg?
Dan Nolan joins me from Brisbane. Dan, you broke the Lady Pamela scandal. What does Greg Newmar's fine say about Queensland's border restrictions?
Well, Layla, it suggests that these tough border rules that cause so much heartache are actually paper thin for anyone selfish enough to try and break them. If you were watching this in Melbourne and living under curfew, you must be thinking to yourself, why don't I have a go at getting into Queensland? The worst that can happen even if they do catch me, is a $4,000 fine. And of course, if it wasn't for our investigation, the Simmons family would have rolled into Queensland without even having to do hotel quarantine. And yet the average Aussies like Sarah Cassip, who do the right thing, receive brutal treatment like being banned from your own father's funeral.
Yeah, it just seems so incredibly unfair. How do Queenslanders feel about the saga?
Layla, I think most are becoming fed up with the unfairness of the border system. If you're rich or in the AFL or from Hollywood, you get a very different treatment from everyone else. And no matter how many times we hear the Premier say that the system is fair, cases like the Lady Pamela reinforce that it really isn't, Layla.
Dan Nolan, thank you.